Good Packer Nation morning, guys and dolls. It's finally Friday. It's Fan Talk Friday. Time for you to let me know what you want to chat about. But I want to start the conversation today because we've been talking about it for a while. Had a chat about it yesterday. And Ted Thompson finally got the deal done, signing Ricky Jean Francois. Jean Francois, however you want to pronounce it, right? And this is exciting for Packers. Not a huge signing, but we didn't expect a huge signing. So, Ron, hey, I got your message this morning.
Yes.
Manuel is here. Good to see you, buddy. Who else is up? Who's on? We'll do a little Packer Nation roll call as we get started this Friday morning. And Badgers are playing tonight. Feel free to throw up a little love if your team won last night. If you're a Badger fan, throw up some love for the Badgers as we get started. Wayne is here. And yes, Wayne is mentioning as well. This was news that we got a hold of just this morning. And probably should start the show with that, actually. That Clay Matthews Sr., father of our own, as we feel like, Clay Matthews Jr., of the Green Bay Packers, has passed away. And so, of course, we want to say JB is here, Brandon is here, Jason is here, and we all want to say, give condolences to the family, to Clay Matthews, who has been a real game changer in terms of Green Bay Packer football, along with Aaron Rodgers, and his dad passing away. Who also, this was a football family, and that's what makes it really hard to see. Roger's here from La Crosse. Roger, if you're a Red Raiders, if you went to, the Red Raiders won the state tournament, I think, I heard. So congrats if that was your school. That was my mom's school. Andrew is here, Nicholas is here, and Willie is here. And Willie giving condolences as well. Everybody just jump up. You can throw a sad face up, put a heart up for the Matthews family. We truly, we feel that loss. I mean, we don't feel it anywhere near. We wouldn't pretend to feel it anywhere near the way they do, but it really does matter to us. And so I think we can all jump on, throw up a heart, throw up a sad face, and just kind of let the family know that, we feel for them. And, of course, our thoughts are with Clay. Honestly, I think I don't know. You think about what happens when a dad dies of a football player, and I feel like it's going to impact the way Clay Matthews plays this year. I don't know. And that may be stretching it. But mostly we just want to say condolence. Shane is here from Manitowoc, saying rest in peace to Clay Sr. as well. Sad news. Phil is on. I want to give Phil a shout out right now. I had it written down for later in the show. But Phil sent me to the Sidelines podcast with Evan Daniels. And it's generally basketball, but in this case, good morning, Virginia. In this case, Evan was interviewing Aaron Rodgers, and Phil just put it up on Facebook or whatever and said, hey, I know you don't watch Twitter a lot, but check this out. There's some good nuggets in here. And I want to thank you, Phil. That was a fantastic podcast. And I want to send everyone there, guys. It's the Sideline. All you really have to do is if you Google Evan Daniels interview with Aaron Rodgers, you will find it. And he's talking about, he gives his picks for, who's going to make it to the Final Four, et cetera, et cetera. But you need to listen to this thing all the way through because Aaron Rodgers talks about being denied scholarships coming out of high school, how and why he was overlooked, and what drives Aaron Rodgers to be great, and how he has been driven this way from a very young age. So check it out. Again, just Google Evan Daniels interview with Aaron Rodgers. It's episode 24. And thanks a lot, Phil. I appreciate that. Richard's checking in from Florida. We got Brian from Massachusetts. And Tiffany is mentioning, and this reminded me of this too. You remember when Brett Favre played after his dad died. Now it's not it's nowhere near as close because we're in the off season, obviously, but I really do think it's going to have an impact, and I think Clay's going to have a kind of a comeback season. So Jerry says, go Pack, go. Brian is here from South Dakota. And so now the Packers have signed Jean Francois, and Ricky Jean Francois And I would like to go over his stats. The thing that jumps out at you about Ricky is his durability. He played only 3 games in 2009, but after that, it's like 16 all the way down. 1. Let's see what we got. Yeah, he played 10 games then in 13, but it's 6 years of playing 16 games. And Bryce saying it's a solid pickup for the D-line, and that's what I'm seeing in this, you know. And Virginia, she called it. She said we were going to have a good offseason. Ted was going to surprise us a little bit. And that, you know, it wasn't a surprise in the sense that we actually knew we were meeting with the guy. But that was part of the reason we still kind of had a feeling that Ted had more to do. Now, here's the deal, guys. What I love about this pick, I love having rotational depth on the D-line. You can't have enough big guys, right? McCarthy says it all the time. Ted Thompson says it all the time. Wesley is here from Hotlanta. It's beautiful here in Northeast Tennessee. Nicholas, good rotational player. And this guy is going to be, he's not going to be a guy who gets to the quarterback. I think he had like 1.5 sacks last year. But that's not what you need necessarily in a 3-4 defensive lineman. He's going to take over a guy in spot. We may let Guyon walk with this guy in. I've seen that suggested, and I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't think that's going to happen because what we renegotiated is another good move. I think my feed is, I got to watch my feed a little bit. I have to look here for the camera. And you know, this guy's going to at least fill the gap that LaTroy Guyon stuck us with for 4 games. Kenny Clark's going to continue to develop. Dean Lowry continue to develop, but they won't have to get thrown into the fire. And guess what, guys? I don't know if you paid attention to this side of it, but we've been talking a lot about compensatory picks for 2018. This guy was a release. This was a street free agent signing, not an unrestricted free agent signing. This was a street guy. He'd been released. He does not count against our compensatory pick count. We can still do more right now and still keep those 4 picks. That maxing out those compensatory picks, I think, is important to Ted Thompson this year because we did see some valuable players walk. But good old Francois is not going to count against it for us. So I think that's important as well, and very happy with this pickup. Very cheap too, Donald mentioned, which is a great point. 1 year, $3 million, just a kind of a prove-it thing. And now we had LaTroy Guyon who made his stupid mistake, so he's cheap. We really have a lot of money still on the table. And, hey, Chris. Chris jumped on and said hi, so... Joan thinks he's going to be a great addition. What do you guys think? Emoji your thoughts on the signing of Francois. I think he's a great pickup. I don't think world beater, but I think this guy, especially against the run, I think he improves our defense against the run. And he helps us a great deal in 4 games where we're not going to have LaTroy Guyon in the mix. And Brian still hopes this is Ted's last year. Any concern with the number of free agents? That's looking really long term, but the short answer is yeah. Morning, Trent. Good to see you, buddy. Yes, I do have concerns with the free agents next year, and that's part of the reason I think I'm not sure because I've said all along Ted's going to keep a cushion. We can't think about it in terms of 43 million or now 20-some million. He's going to keep a cushion, but I'm afraid I don't know where to put that number this year because I'm looking forward. And we've got some guys we got to sign. And then we've got some guys we got to make big decisions on. Dylan's asking if I think he's better than Guyon. Well, he's available to play all 16 games, number one. He is a run stuffer. He's not going to be a 4-down. He's not going to be... And that plays to our defense as well. I mean, we do a lot of 2-down linemen. We're a 3-4 defense, base defense. We play so many sub-packages that I think we'll be okay. I think there's a very good chance that he usurps Guyon, and Guyon becomes unnecessary. And Dylan's got a point here now, and you guys, you can give him a thumbs up or an angry face if you want. Dylan can handle it, I'm sure. Ted should just do one more signing and pick up Richard Sherman. So
My time's up.
your time is up.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you here later?
Yes.
Okay, because there's another basketball game. I've got to go back early again tonight. So if you're back real late, I won't see you. Sorry about this. we're scheduling, man. Yeah. See, go Pack, go.
Go back, go.
Yeah, right. There we go. Yeah, he's got some work he wants me to look over, so I want to make sure and catch up with him, but I didn't catch up with him last night. So Nancy's here from Iowa. John says, see ya, Guyon. Thinks the Guyon's days in Green Bay may be limited. And, the guy can't blame anyone but himself. Am I right? Am I right? If LaTroy Guyon ends up getting released, maybe to make room for another player, another maybe big-time defensive player, he has no one to blame but himself. I'm sorry. We gave him a chance. We were fairly excited about him bringing him in. He was another guy that wasn't, not a world beater. Kind of fizzled out at the, with the Vikings. And Rick says he'll be kept. They'll rotate him in to keep him fresh. And Trent is saying that coffee looks really clear. My dad used to always drink hot water in the morning, and I had my tea, and I'm out of coffee. Ugh. Oh, it hurts to say it. And so I did the old dad trick, and I need to hydrate, right? So I'm just drinking warm, hot water like you drink coffee. So my dad had nothing against doing things that nobody else would do if he thought it was a good idea, and water is always a good idea. All right, even though I would rather have my coffee right now. Gloria says good morning to everybody. Rick remembers that. Wow, yeah. My dad taught high school for many years. He loved it for a long time, but by the time it was all said and done, he was ready to do something else. But he was a no-nonsense teacher. I actually loved it about him because I did not get great grades. Oh man, it's horrible. All right, but that's a story for another day. Darren wants to bring in AD. We love you, but that's disgusting. No, it's actually not. If it's lukewarm, it's disgusting. If it's hot, if it's tea temperature, it's really not if you try it. It's not disgusting, and it's so good for you. I try to lean once in a while toward healthy foods. It's rare, however. I need to make it more often. But hey, all right. What do you think about running back? Okay, and David's asking about the running back position. We talked about this a lot yesterday. So, but hey, if you want to know, we talked about it a lot yesterday. And I think I'm probably where a lot in Packer Nation is the signing of Christine Michael in particular. So we got Montgomery, we got Michael, we got Don Jackson, who really hasn't had a chance to show what he can do, but has shown some good things. And we've got Aaron Ripkowski, who can be a short yardage back. Excuse me. And we have the draft. So, and Rick loves the Michael signing. I do too. He's still kind of a question mark, but you're paying the guy nothing. You're paying him like a rookie, and he can come in, and we've seen both sides of Christine Michael. One where he looks confused, doesn't look like he quite has absorbed the offense yet, and then one where he looks like the guy can really play. He can ball. He's got good vision, good speed. He's got burst. And, a 40-yard touchdown is nothing to sneeze at against any team in the NFL. And he has the entire offseason to become a good Green Bay Packer, okay? And David saying he was sick in his limited choices and very productive. I think the first game against the Eagles on Monday night, he had like 4 yards. But again, I don't think we all had lower expectations in the first game. You come into Green Bay from Seattle, you fly across the entire country, you try to get your feet under you, and basically, running backs are running. If you know where to grab the ball and how to run, it's not absolute rocket science. But when you look at the entirety of the playbook, your pass protection assignments, all the bubble screens and all the things that the Packers do with running backs, then it's too much to expect on a first outing, I think. And I think he was a good Good pickup. Gary's saying he believes Blunt is taken. And I had not caught that, so which I would have thought I would have. But who knows? It's possible. Right. And so then you look at the draft, and I think Ted Thompson, I'm hoping he waits till the mid-rounds now. I was getting nervous because I was looking at it and saying, geez, if one of these running backs hangs out till pick 29, we're going to have to pick him because we've got to replace Eddie Lacy. We've got to have a complement to Ty Montgomery. And we also have offensive line issues. Let me just clear that quick. My fingerprint. I got red pen on it from writing. So now we're looking at Ted Thompson. He signed Nick Perry before the free agency period began. He brought in Martellus Bennett and Lance Kendricks right off the bat with the exit of Cook, or basically in coordination with the exit of Cook, made Cook unnecessary. And frankly, we looked at Lance Kendricks, and Lance Kendricks had a much better year than Jared Cook. He's going to be available, I think, if he can stay healthy. And I think we've basically replaced him and then upgraded. I think our tight end situation is in much better shape than it was because, Kendricks can push Rodgers for the second spot. And I think we're going to see more two tight end sets. Packers don't use it too much. And I think our goal line has improved. And I think the signing of Kristen Michael then, of course, on the side of that. We also brought in Don Jackson. We have the kind of extras you'd say. We had Don Jackson and Joe Thomas. Joe Thomas, I think, was a really good signing, too, that nobody really paid much attention to because he didn't come in from another team. So then you got, Kristen Michael, and I think he's going to really benefit from being in our system and having an entire offseason, all the OTAs, training camp. He's going to be with the team through all of this. It's going to be really exciting. I'm excited for the kid, honestly, because, frankly, I like to see a guy go out there and just seem to have a little fun. And that was what Kristen Michael, I thought, did. And then, we bring in Francois to sort of bolster the defensive line. So Joe Thomas on the inside along with Ryan and Martinez. And then our outside linebackers, we still have some question marks. We've talked about this. We're not sure what Nick Perry we're going to get every year in and year out. Are we going to get the Nick Perry that's injured all the time? And he was injured. He missed a couple games last year before he could get a club on, had to play with a club out for the rest of the season. But he had a fantastic season. So which one are we going to get? Which Clay Matthews are we going to get? Again, rest in peace to Clay Matthews Sr. and condolences to all the Matthews family. But this is what I'm saying. I think Clay Matthews is going to have a bounce back year. Rick wants to bring in DeAndre Levy, who we talked about yesterday as well. And I think he would have a renaissance. Thumbs up if you just think Levy would have a renaissance in Green Bay. Thoughts? I missed one. Jeff is making a good point right now. I appreciate it, buddy. He says, I think Fackrell's going to step up this year. I have a lot of excitement, and you can thumbs up if you agree, not just for Kyler Fackrell, but for also Jaron Elliott, who is another guy that kind of was an under-the-radar guy. But I'm excited for Fackrell, and also Fackrell as the new kid, coming in as a second-year player with a chance. Big, tall guy, 6'5", has a chance to put on some weight, gain some power, be with the team. And now here we're sitting and we've got young guys that need to perform because they're going to get reps. We've got Jaron Elliott's on the other side of that. He's been with the team a while. Just hasn't quite gotten on the field that much. But when he's gotten on the field, he's really showed something. A lot of young talent could step up. Chris says, surprised Ted Thompson is signing people. David thinks Kenny Clark's going to do the best. And maybe that's in terms of, players from last year stepping up, last year's draft class stepping up. And I think that's a very real possibility. This guy's going to benefit too. Kenny Clark's going to benefit. Adam says Fackrell, yes. Elliott, no. We'll see. I'm excited for Elliott. I think he's earned a chance. He didn't, he came in cheap. And I would not be surprised if he doesn't show a little something. Of course, we're going to, you've got to have this, we've got to keep guys in the hopper, and that's where your Fackrell comes in. So, all right. Spriggs will too. Virginia says Spriggs is going to have a good year too. I think he may be a guy that we are going to have to count on at this point. I hope we don't have to. I hope we don't have to rely on the draft. And I'm missing comments. It's really hard to keep up, guys. And Jeff is mentioning too. This is the other reason, and this is the reason Jaron Elliott got paid, is because of his performance on special teams. And that's another reason I think that signing is good. And even if he ends up just being kind of a backup guy, look at what happened. I mean, remember in 2010, we had a guy named Frank Zombo in our linebacking core, who still is hanging around in the league, but he was no world beater, but we needed him. We needed him down the stretch, and he got his playing time. So, we will see what happens. Ty Montgomery. We need a running game, says Duran Patton. Eric's got Ty Montgomery up on the board. I think Ty's going to be fine. I really like him as an athlete. And I think that, it's the thing that I'm a little hesitant is, defenses are going to have a lot more Ty Montgomery film to look at now. To look at his tendencies and possible weaknesses, but you got to balance that with Ty Montgomery is another guy. We talked about this when Clay Matthews came back and was planning to play inside linebacker more after having just played, half a season or whatever. That basically this is the first time to really focus on this position. And Ty Montgomery is spending this entire offseason focusing on this position. David wants to move Mike Daniels to cornerback. He'd be a good press man, because the press would mean the man was on the turf. It would just be like, wha-bam, and that's it. Now get up, boy. That's pretty funny. So at any rate, we're feeling better, I think, about the overall picture of this Green Bay Packer team going into the draft. And I think Kyle's asking, could HaHa be the next Woodson? I think the position is very different in terms of, Woodson ended his career as a safety, but he was a cornerback. I think he right now is like, he's our Butler right now to me more. So just in terms of, the position. So at any rate, Eric says we've got better depth. And I think so. The beauty of it to me is, number one, with the signing of Francois, we did not have to give up a compensatory pick for 2018. It doesn't have to factor in. So we can go get another guy, and you're looking at a lot of money still on the table. On a 1-year, $3 million deal, we still have the ability, and that is where the hesitation is, of course, for Ted Thompson to go out and continue to be active. He has been active. I mean, you have to admit that for Ted Thompson, this is major activity. He goes out and gets his pass rusher before the free agency period begins, then gets the top tight end, rather than tight end we benefited from greatly, and then he brings in another tight end who I think is, in terms of his performance last year on a team that needed him more, the Rams, Lance Kendricks had a better year than Jared Cook. Now, Jared Cook, that one catch he made in the Dallas game meant more than anything Lance Kendricks did last year. So, but what I'm saying is we've got a guy that could be a replacement for Cook, and a guy that is going to be better. So, one thing we didn't talk about yesterday, I'll throw this out there. I've been trying to stay with the comments as much as possible, but did you guys catch Bennett's rant on the NFL having this educational video about appropriate celebration? And Bennett just went off. I mean, went on Twitter and decided, I'm going to go to the bathroom for 15 minutes when we're supposed to be watching this show. It's ridiculous. Eric saw it. Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. And here's my initial thoughts. And this may be, you guys can give me a thumbs up if this is where you were at. I was here initially with Bennett. I was like, you're a new Packer. Just shut up and watch the stupid video. And then I woke up the next morning and I was like, you know what? I was thinking about it more. And I thought, you know what? I think we need some attitude on offense. I think we need some guys that aren't afraid to talk on offense. We are such a quiet, cerebral offense. And I am liking that Bennett, because you get out a guy like Bennett out there, and Tammy loved the rant. And Virginia's mentioning, this is another reason I kind of like Sherman on the defensive side, too. On the defense, we've seen some guys come in that are willing to do some talking. Mike Daniels, I mean, basically won. But on the other side, on the offensive side of the ball, remember the wide receivers from other teams that you hated the most? They were the talkers. They were the guys that got in cornerbacks' heads. They were constantly talking. And right now, I don't have anything against Bennett. If he goes out and gets in cornerbacks, not as much, but I mean, linebackers' heads, for crying out loud, they're not going to be able to handle him. And he seriously could have a very good year and a huge impact on this offense. I mean, look at what. Remember, Kristen Michael was picked like one draft pick before or after. I can't remember. Eddie Lacy. It was. I would guess it was after, because the Seahawks picked. I guess, did the Seahawks or the Cowboys pick him first? I think the Seahawks picked him. Anyway, this is a guy that's got promise. We've got Ty Montgomery. We've got Kristen Michael, who's shown some promise. He's shown some issues, but with a full offseason, he's got some promise. Now we line up Devontae and Jordy. We got Cobb still in there, who I think, and Aaron Rodgers. Again, you've got to go back and Google Evan Daniels' interview with Aaron Rodgers, because I think that was the one he talked about Randall Cobb as well, although I listened to so many of them, I don't know. But he spoke very highly of Randall Cobb, and the question was asked, do you think Cobb's going to have a good year this year? And he thought, yes, if he can stay healthy, he is just, he spoke very highly of Randall Cobb, who has come under some criticism of late because, since the signing, he hasn't been as much of a factor. But Randall Cobb, his main concern, I think, is just to stay healthy, and I think he'll be fine. And then we line up a good backfield. We've got a great tight end situation now with Martellus Bennett, and I think Lance Kendricks ousts Richard Rogers. That was funny. And, of course, got mentioned, I can't see the names, it's going by so fast, is Geronimo Allison, a guy that came in. And Aaron Rodgers mentioned him, too, that especially when Cobb was hurt, Allison came in and had remember, both of our young guys had touchdowns in that initial Atlanta game when we lost by 1 point. So, things are coming around for the offense, and I think we're going to get in people's heads. I think we're going to be not only hard to beat, but I would like to see us be more than just cerebral. I would like to see us rip defenses a new one. And I think we've got just about Virginia, Geronimo Allison's little toothpick legs, you must be mentioning. He's they call him high-waisted. That's the apparently PC way to say toothpick legs in the NFL. But Virginia's going to tell it like it is. I like it. But yeah, happy to have the guy on. He's going to have another chance to get out there. And of course, we know on this Packers team, we're going to need depth at these positions because you never know when an injury is going to strike. We've had an entire season without Jordy Nelson. We had to struggle through that. And the young guys stepped up with Jeff Janis. We posted yesterday another angle of the Jeff Janis Hail Mary in the Cardinals game. I mean, these guys stepped up. We had a chance to get to the NFC Championship that year without Jordy Nelson. And then, of course, last season in the Cowboys game, after the Giants took a cheap shot on Jordy, and yes, it was a cheap shot. I don't care what anybody says. And we went to the NFC Championship and got blown out, unfortunately. But I do think we're in a better situation. And one of the questions I have, let's see, Scott hopes we get Blunt running back, and we are set for Rodgers' weapons. Yeah, and then we've still got the draft, Dan. Isn't that the cool part? Like, the cool part is and I would say, if we bring in a guy like LeGarrette Blunt, then the offense is like pretty much all there. You still have a little bit of a question mark on the offensive line. But if we can pull the same stunt we did when Sitton left, man, more power to Ted on that one. Because if our offensive line comes together, we are going to be a force to be reckoned with on offense, without a doubt. And Aaron Rodgers has made no bones about it. He thinks we're going to be a force to reckon with. For defenses out there. And then on defense, that's the exciting part about it. We bolstered the defensive line a little bit. We got Henry back. Hopefully Clay Matthews gets healthy. We brought in Devon House again, who isn't a world beater. But now we go into the draft feeling much, much better, I think. And Trevor Davis was the other guy at during the Atlanta Falcons game that really stepped up. And the problem being, man, he's got to be able to catch a kick. Guy's got all this speed, for crying out loud. Man, it'd be great to see him take one to the house. Josh has got Blunt better than Peterson. I think that's kind of the general consensus, out there in Packer Nation. Is he going to have 8 seconds with the pass protection, or will it take 8 seconds for receivers to get open this year? And I think that's where, guys like I think getting Randall Cobb healthy and getting Martellus Bennett in are extremely important. We really missed Jordy Nelson. Jordy Nelson, he played in the Atlanta game, but he was hurting bad. I keep saying I hope. Remember a couple years ago when out on the field, it was all the talk in training camp that out on the field the coaches had stopwatches in their hand, and they were counting off 2.5 seconds, and the ball was supposed to get out in 2.5 seconds. That's what they were shooting for. And I think they hit the horn at 2.5 seconds to let the quarterbacks know the ball needs to get out of your hand. If we got back to that, I think it would help our offensive line situation dramatically right off the bat. And then that assumes then that, the wide receivers are getting open that fast. And I think the Martellus Bennett signing is going to be huge for that. You look at, especially when you're in the red zone, this is an absolute, and that's probably when they were actually taking the stopwatch onto the field, was red zone drills. But it is absolutely critical then. Everything is compressed. So we shall see. But I think Aaron Rodgers is a happy man right now. Remember, we polled at the beginning. Maybe we should do it again. Let's do this again, because early in free agency, when the talks broke off with Jared Cook, you guys remember this? We polled Packer Nation. We said, if you are Aaron Rodgers, emoji your feelings right now. So let's do it again. Okay, he brought in 2 more tight ends. He signed back Kristen Michael. Eddie Lacy was huge and got let go. If you're Aaron Rodgers right now, hit the button. How do you feel? We'll say thumbs up is just okay. Heart is, I feel great about what we've done this offseason so far and can't wait for the draft. Of course, you've got maybe smiley face is kind of in the middle there too. And I don't see a huge amount of hearts. I do see some surprise out there as well. And this was a shocker to everyone, the Martellus Bennett, especially to be on the offense. We thought Cook coming back. But we're seeing a lot. This has changed dramatically, guys. And those of you that are watching live and now watching on YouTube, you're seeing this live. This is a dramatic change. We have one angry face that came across, but that's it so far. And if I was Aaron Rodgers draft with a defense heavy, running back heavy, some offensive line prospects out there that could be very good, I'd be pretty happy right now. I'd be pretty happy. I'd still have concerns about the defense, but as a quarterback, Aaron Rodgers gets to talk about the whole team because he's Aaron Rodgers. But as a quarterback, you're focused. You're really focused on who's going to be around you this coming season. And I'm sure he'd love to see another cornerback brought in. Maybe he had his eye on a free agent as well. But I got to figure he's a lot happier now, just like Packer Nation is. A lot happier now than he was a few weeks ago. And Eric saying Hightower would have been great. He was kind of my man crush for a while there. Just so hoping he was the guy. Like, the Martellus Bennett signing was great. But offense, I was still sort of shaking my head, scratching my head until, we brought in Francois, we brought in Devon House, so I feel better about that. Dan says Thompson finally woke up. Here we are. Scott's mentioning Chuck Cecil, the human torpedo. You're not talking about Chuck Cecil of the swinging years, though. Great point. It'd be good to, I wish we could. It would be great. I would love to see like an all-star Packer team. Can you imagine like any team in this league, putting together an all-star, like, through historical team that could even compare to the Green Bay Packers. Adam's making a good comment right now. I want, Zach Brown or cheap or to get Levy in. And I wonder, now we heard that we knew up front that the Packers were talking to Francois. We haven't heard anything since, so we'll have to keep an eye on that, and it will be very interesting. And apparently Blunt got an offer from the Patriots, I think Gary is mentioning, and turned it down. So, and now my water is disgusting. Oh, because it's lukewarm. But anyway, Nick wants TJ Watt in the first round, corner in the second, and running back in the third. I might be right there with you guys. Yeah, we'll have to be breaking that down. And I did see, I think I saw earlier, I couldn't see who it was. Questions about my top 5 cornerbacks. We're going to have to start breaking that down soon. Of course, today is not the day, it's Friday, number 1. And number 2, this Francois signing, I think is a nice addition. I think it lets the defense know that, Ted Thompson is out there. He's looking around. We got him as a street free agent, which helps the compensatory situation. And I have one question I want to poll Packer Nation on. Oh, Josh asked me that. Okay, yeah, and we'll definitely cover that in future episodes. But I want to ask a question because this popped into my head, and I just want to ask Packer Nation what they think. If you agree, angry face if you disagree. The question popped into my head as to whether Julius Peppers was really holding Nick Perry back. And I know Nick Perry was holding himself back with injuries for a long time, but I'm talking about, like last season, if Nick Perry shouldn't have been the guy, although he pretty much was for, the bulk of the season. And is Nick Perry going to have a better year than he did last year? 11 sacks. You get to double-digit sacks. That's pretty dang good. And he was by far he had, I forget what the numbers were on Nick Perry, but I looked him up on Pro Football Focus. I'll try to get back to you. But by far, he had more sacks per snap than any other. Clay Matthews, obviously, Julius Peppers as well. So I suspect, and I have this thought, that the key for him is just to stay healthy and be available. And if he has a better year than 11 sacks, what does that mean for our... I guess you have to factor in, Julius Peppers had, 5.5 or 6.5. So it would have to be astounding to really be basically, and I'm not saying he's going to be like Julius Peppers stacked on top, I guess. But I think, hey, Keegan, I'm excited for Nick Perry. I think Virginia mentioned it too. I'm excited for him to have a full season. And a lot of people disagreeing with the idea that Peppers was holding him back. And I can understand that. But it did pop into my head. Hey, Joseph. And Josh thinks he's going to have around maybe 3 more. And, a 14-sack season. So, Josh, you get a 14-sack season on Perry and you get a healthy Clay Matthews. And I am not jumping off Clay Matthews' bandwagon because that shoulder injury is really hard to deal with. So then you have a couple of guys, and you got Kyler Fackrell over there as well. You may have a big bounce back from Clay Matthews. Maybe Clay Matthews gets in that, 8 or more would be great out of Clay Matthews. And if you get a defense that gets a little more solid in pass protection, now we can send Ha-Ha on a safety blitz. He showed some, I think didn't he have a couple sacks last year? Keegan, I got to give a shout out. It was written down here, but I think I passed it up. Click that use app button on the Facebook fan page, guys. What you do is I didn't explain it real well yesterday, but what you do is you click the use app button and it should take you to a page that loads in our promo code Get the Ring, and you just fill in your email address, phone number, and your name. That becomes your login. Then you download the app and you can log in from anywhere at any time and any device and play FireFan. Keegan gained 400 points, jumped to the top of the board. I think maybe second. I don't remember. But yeah, we're having a lot of fun with it. It's having a good time. It's having a good time. We're having a good time. And we're playing for a $50 gift certificate with the Packer Pro Shop, so you can pick up your Eddie Lacy gear on sale now, clearance priced. Keegan's in third. Oh, yeah, that's still a big... Oh, you jumped me. That's right. I think Atreyu jumped to first. Phil is down maybe second or third now, or whatever. Yeah, we're having a blast, so jump on. Do I think Randall Rollins and Gunter come back better and improved? My short answer is yes. I think yes. I think injuries were a big factor in that. I think the fact that Devon House is there. Remember, guys. Okay, I think to answer your question, I think the fact that Devon House is there it's good. He's the veteran presence in the cornerback group now. But I think that's good. I think these guys are going to bounce ideas off each other. I think Randall and Rollins get healthy. And I think Devon compresses, like I've mentioned before, the competition down. I've got to move something else again, so there's my thumbprint for y'all. And what else was I going to say about that? I think having Devon House is going to help him out. The fact that I think, Gunter, he just struggled when he had, guys, he was up against Julio Jones. He was up against some really tough competition. It may be that he shows enough and improves enough this year to get back to that role. But if it looks like to me, and House is going to be sort of the outside guy. And I think Randall and Rollins in particular, they've shown some skill set. The big question for me is, if we draft a cornerback high in the draft, Randall and Rollins and Gunter, that group of three are really going to see a decrease in playing time, I think. There's going to be some stiff competition, and I hate to say it, but we're going to be back to a situation where we look at the defensive backfield and maybe we feel like we're fairly deep or deep enough at that point. And that means I do think these guys are going to have to compete for reps to some extent this time around. But I think they're going to be good. The coaches aren't going to give up on these guys. It's a first-round and a second-round draft pick in Randall and Rollins. The coaches understand, and they've seen all the film of what Gunter did right and wrong. Packer Nation does not see that, generally speaking. And there's a lot of just ready to throw the baby out with the bathwater in terms of the cornerback situation. We can't do that, number one, because we need these guys. Number two, we spent the first and second round draft pick. You can't give up on these guys. And number three, these coaches know their strengths and weaknesses, and I think they're going to be working on this offseason. And Peter says Randall's going to be great if he stays healthy. And I still believe in those guys in the proper functioning of our defense. Which tells you guys a lot, and you guys probably agree, is that we don't want to throw Gunter on the outside anymore, taking on a number one receiver. Not so sure about Rollins, and Rollins is the one. I think he's I think he's going to be okay. I think he's going to be improved. To answer Bryce's question, I think they all are. I think the difference is going to be harder to sort of teams on the guys. Like look back. And Audrey says isn't sure about Randall. Yeah, I think all of them are not sure, to be honest. John is on. All right, John's birthday today. How about everybody just put up a heart for John? Give a thumbs up if the heart is not manly enough. For a happy birthday for John. And he has a good question. Put up a thumbs up if you want out there Ted Thompson to sign LeGarrette Blount for John on his birthday. Thumbs up right now on this Friday. I'm all for it there, buddy. And happy birthday to you, man. Tammy's giving you a happy birthday as well. Yeah, roll it up in the comments as well for John. And a good way to close out the show, I think, today. Fan Talk Friday. Trying to go through as many of your comments as I can. Guys, if I miss your comment, number one, don't just repeat it 5 times. That doesn't help. But don't be afraid to roll it up again, maybe later at another time. I'm telling you, from my side, I think it's different when you guys are watching this live. From my side, I see 2.5 as they move comments at a time. So just so anybody, if you've been getting missed and you've had, I don't have anything against anybody's questions. I just can't catch up with them all. We got Chris saying, happy birthday, mate. Bob says hello from San Antonio. Bryce is asking a good question. Did anybody have Xavier making the Elite Eight? What a fantastic job. And a little NCAA talk, a little Sweet 16 talk is certainly in order as we close out the show. Feel free to head out if you've got to. I know you guys' time is valuable. But looking forward to this game tonight. We don't get to watch the Packers, but we do get to see my Badgers hopefully beat Florida. Holy smokes. With a big step, overcoming Villanova in a really, really good game. Have a good day, Corey. Have a good one, man. Hope work goes well. And Phil doesn't want to spend more than $2 million on Blunt. I would be okay with 3 on Blunt for sure. I would say. I can't imagine Eddie Lacy got like 5.5. Boy. Mike's saying, let's have Gator on a stick for dinner. Any Gator fans, you're welcome to jump in and do a little smack talk. We don't mind smack talk. We try to draw the line at like abuse. I see some guys on here that are just being, there has to be some sort of lightheartedness about it, or it just doesn't fit the show. But yeah, Gator on a stick sounds good to me. Virginia says goodbye to everybody. Wishes everyone a great day. Yeah, and John is mentioning with eight touchdowns, Blunt, I think, is going to be out there to get paid. I wouldn't mind paying him more for sure. But I would love it if Ted Thompson could pull a $3 million deal like he did with Francois. That would kick butt. That would be so awesome. That would make somebody's birthday out there. Tim, was it? Now I can't even remember who it was. Tim or Tom? Freaking. All right, it's Friday, guys. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy the games tonight. And I will talk to you again. It's Friday, so I'll be back again on Monday. If in the event that the Packers and Ted Thompson do something, I did a special edition show on a Saturday. I know I have had people asking me to jump on a Saturday. And I probably will end up doing that at some point. I don't think the off season it's quite as urgent. We're going to have plenty of draft possibilities to choose from and talk about. Gator tail for dinner, and we will be staying at 5 days for sure. But I don't think I'll be going to weekends unless, like I said, we have some kind of a major signing. Where I think, I almost went on when Martellus Bennett got signed, and Tom was on telling me it's time to go live, and but I wanted to wait for contract. I don't think if Ted Thompson signed a big defense, if he signed Levy or somebody like that, I probably wouldn't be able to help myself. All right. So, folks, you guys have a great day. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. We'll be back on Monday. Be safe out there. Enjoy the games, and we'll be back. We'll chat about I'm sure we'll chat about some basketball as well. It's not off the table this time of year. It's March Madness, and I get the fever too. You guys have a good day. We'll talk to you again Monday. Go Pack.